All right, joining me live now, the New South Wales SES Assistant Commissioner Nicole Hogan. Thanks very much for your time. We are thankfully seeing orders go down everywhere, but still some evacuation orders. Can you update us on the areas that are still potentially in the emergency situation?
Thank you. Yes, we've still got a number of evacuation orders out, predominantly along lower level communities within the Hawkesbury-Nepean River system. Those evacuation orders are likely to still be in place for the next 24 hours, just as floodwaters start to recede down past those major flood levels. We aren't expecting those floodwaters to recede quickly. They are still likely to be around that major level until at least Saturday at this stage.
It's a long time, isn't it? Is there enough confidence in the forecast that all this water will finally get to drain away and maybe even the catchment areas dry up a bit so that if there is more rain, we're not talking about more major flooding?
Yeah, so the weather situation has eased and at this stage we're not expecting any more significant rain, thankfully, which is good. All our catchments at the moment are quite saturated, so there can be renewed river rises if there is, say, thunderstorms or locally heavy falls in any of those particular areas. So we still ask people to be vigilant, really look at what the weather forecast is. But at this stage, that weather has actually eased and we're not expecting those significant rainfall that we have been seeing over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's the bit of good news finally for people so they can get in and clean up. Any idea on a damage bill here in New South Wales? It's obviously going to be billions overall.
Damage assessments are still being undertaken. We're working through those. A number of those, up to 10,000, have already been undertaken in the Northern Rivers area, which we're now supporting that longer term recovery for all of those communities. We have commenced some areas within the Sydney Metropolitan and the Lower Hunter with those damage assessments, but we still have some way to go to really look at what the impact has been for these floods.
Do you have an idea of numbers in terms of thousands of homes inundated or similar in some of those regions you were talking about?
Based on the damage assessment data that we have undertaken so far, we've got up to around 3,000 homes that at this stage, initial reports say may not be inhabitable immediately. There's other homes that have been assessed as having overflow flooding, up to ceiling flooding. So depending upon the community and the area, really depends on the damage that has occurred. For residents in that area, it is quite a significant impact, these floods right across New South Wales.
Yeah, 3,000, and that's obviously a preliminary figure as well. At the height of this crisis, we saw a lot of lives saved because locals jumped in tinnies and helped out because this was so urgent. Does it give pause for thought around the future role of the SES? Is it big enough? Does it need more full-time paid employees? We're going to see more events like this?
Well, SES, as you know, is a volunteer agency predominantly. Our membership comes from the communities, so community supporting community. Like every government agency, if we get more resources, that's always supported. But our community, our organisation is built with that community resilience in mind and community supporting their own communities. So our volunteers are members of the communities that have been impacted. They themselves have been impacted. They've certainly supported their community through these floods that have occurred over the last couple of weeks, and will continue to do so over preparing for now into the recovery phase.
Yeah, and look, I'm not suggesting to go away from the voluntary element, but it's about, perhaps I'll come at it from this angle. Do you need more resources looking at the possibility of more common events like this?
Well, like every government agency, we would welcome more resources if those resources were to come. So that is just who we are. We work with our partner agencies as well, and of course we work with the communities. So we're here
But
to support.
are you
the
more stretched
community.
than you were a few years ago?
Our volunteer membership is around the same as where we have been over the last couple of years. So we certainly work with the communities and ask people to come in and volunteer for the SES to support in floods and storms. We do train our team members and provide them with the equipment they need to support their community. And of course, in significant events like this, it's not just the SES that responds, it's a whole of government response. We have our partner emergency services that we work with through these particular emergency responses, and they support us as much as we support them.
Nicole Hogan, a busy time for you. We appreciate your time today. Thank you.